All right, we're back on court one, looking at a women's match here between Bloom and Armada. This is Michael White talking to you from Portland, Oregon.
I'm Erica Spitzmacher from Alberta, where we are.
And we're about to open this match.
Bloom gets a good hop off the rush,
Yeah, that looked
they
quick.
get 2 people out. Armada really able to capitalize.
Well, yeah, it was funny. I was talking about that with Ben earlier. It's like the opening rush, the speed is a factor, but how you respond to that is actually potentially a bigger factor in that.
Absolutely.
That's a great example of them using that to their advantage right there.
So Armada full power against Bloom's 4.
This is actually my first time watching Armada play. I've seen Bloom play. I understand they've been kind of a transitioning team over the last year or two.
Yeah, there's a lot of new faces on this team that I have not seen before.
Yeah, I believe some of the players from Bloom consolidated onto Hyper. They're here and competing today, but Bloom is kind of reformed and shaped into the team that they are now.
And Armada comes from Prince Edward Island, and they actually do a selection for this. So they do it like way back in November. So they've been playing together for quite a long time preparing for this tournament. Dodgeball PEI does a really good job of helping out their players and making sure they have the support they need. It's not very easy to get off the island. Lots of money that it takes, so they're really good at supporting their athletes, and they have in the past done very, very well at nationals, finishing 2nd in 2018.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was watching was it Black Flag and Tempest earlier. You could see how well they know each other. They compete in a very similar fashion.
Yes.
I experienced that similarly in Portland, actually. There's a couple local competitive teams, and we have kind of our own style, the same way that Seattle has their own style, that BC has their own style.
Yeah.
I see the same thing with Prince Edward.
Yeah, we were looking at the last game. We were noticing that the Ontario team was doing something that has only been done generally in Manitoba, and they're like, oh, now they're just like doing like sharing their knowledge across
I love
board.
it. It's the creative niche of the sport right now. You can innovate, and then that can translate into other teams over time. This is kind of one of those spaces where people get exposure to that, and that kind of people adapt as you go through this 3-day tournament.
Rose had a really nice block there. Bloom had 4 balls, weren't able to capitalize. Armada still full power.
Yeah, they're holding their defense strong. It's tough to keep 6 players alive for that long.
Yeah, they do move really well. Wow. Chappelle knocks the ball into Jen Rempel and then able to bring it in.
Yeah, noticing immediately, you're right. The Armada team is posturing really well in the middle, and they're not overly aggressive on their corners, but they are pressuring from the corner.
Yeah, Nick Barish has been throwing a lot of balls. Hasn't made too many hits yet, but it's definitely making Bloom have to look at her
Yeah,
constantly.
leveraging that, right? She's kind of conditioned them to know that she's a threat and then using that to her advantage on defense.
Absolutely.
That's high-level dodgeball. I love to see it.
Yeah.
And they're working through Bloom right now. They had a good opening, but they've already got it down 6-2.
Oh,
that 6-1 with a beautiful catch from, what's her name?
Rempel.
Rempel.
Yeah.
That's easy to remember. I love that name.
Yeah, Mew taken out on Bloom.
What's the leadership like on Armada then, if it's a selection committee that forms the team?
I do believe they just pick captains. They're not listed on my list here, but I would imagine like Halen Sky or Jen Rempel would probably be their captains. They've been playing on the team the longest.
Gotcha. So kind of a natural leadership that's kind of voted on for the team.
Thank you. Thank you.
So our captains are Halen, Jen, and Harding.
Harding. But close. Yeah.
Mitch is talking to us in the background. He can't, or they can't hear him.
We can't hear him. Oh,
we can hear him. They don't believe us that he's actually there.
I'm just talking to a ghost, guys. I'm just talking to a ghost. It happens.
We all have this friend named Mitch, but no one knows who he is.
Yeah. Well, he did win the Dwayne Wazinski Volunteer Award last year.
Well, there you go.
He has put in hundreds of thousands of hours of his own time. And I'm just going to keep talking about how Mitch is the greatest. But we have to talk about this game here.
Well, yeah, we do need to talk about this match because it's a different opening now. That rush is even 6-6.
Yeah, and Jorger, oh man, that was a mouthful.
Well, yeah, I didn't get to keep a close eye on what happened in the close of that last set. It looked like in 6-1, it's tougher for me to do much with that, but that's something Mew is particularly good at, is those one-on scenarios. She's got a kind of a crafty, fast throw. She kind of carries the ball high overhand and then sharply releases it off of her wrist, so it goes high off of wrist, low to your toe. Sometimes she's a little wild with it, but when she's on, she's on. Mm-hmm. She can work her way through a team that way. That in combination with her agility and her posturing and her ability to catch.
And Armada getting chipped away a little bit here.
Yeah.
Down to 3.
This is kind of showing the strength of Bloom, I would say. They're a very well-controlled team. They know how to press on the gas when they need to. Particularly once they get ahead like they are now, they can leverage that quickly.
Oh, Valance just getting disarmed, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was a wicked throw from McVarish there. A little tailing curve at the end.
Oh, wow, nice dodge, too.
Always interested to see what the kind of the 2v2 dynamic is, especially with a team I'm not familiar with. Something like that. So both players pushing high up the court and kind of unfazed by the pressure from Bloom there, being successful with the hit. Bloom is going to need to respond to McVarish's arm, especially while she has support from her opposite side. The teamwork is showing through there in the 2v situation.
You don't see Bloom really throwing a lot of crosses, I would say. They kind of like group up and throw together. You see more often, I would say.
I see that. That's a good read.
Yeah.
It's something to keep an eye on because I think that's one of the most effective ways to kind of pin and target a player is to throw pressure straight in front and then throw a hard angle cross from the opposite corner. It's tricky to do, though. Timing is a factor. It also comes down to how prepared that player actually is. It's a longer throw, so it can be more catchable.
McVarish taken out. I think this is the first time she's had a sit.
Wow.
Yeah. She's been lights out.
Good thing to keep in mind as we start considering our VC MVPs of the match.
Dixon wasn't quite sure.
I was going to say, no one seemed to react to it.
Yeah. And so we'll be mixed 1-1.
I'm curious to see if either team decides to try to really use the rush to their advantage. So far, we haven't seen a whole lot of intentionality with that, but Armada did get away with a 2-player lead. But that was actually in response to Bloom trying to use the rush. So
yeah, and they were ahead in that rush, and like you said, it's all about how you use it.
So either Bloom responds and tries to use that speed again, sees if they can be more effective.
Big catch. Groves is out on
Point
Bloom.
blank, got both arms around that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you got to throw a little bit higher, not right in that old pocket. Beauty.
Well, yeah, since you're fairly familiar with Armada, what would you say their strengths are? What shines through for them as a team?
I think their pressure is really, really good.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I would agree. I'm surprised at like how I guess tight that pressure is too. It's not a lot of loose kind of individual pressure. It's very coordinated, very in sync. And that's really like the key to that in my mind is that how to play defense as a team is to synchronize it.
Yeah, and it's funny how we were talking about that they always like move forward together and stuff and like and then they didn't. They were still standing in the back line. Isn't that how it goes? You will see it. You will see it, I promise.
Well, it's a credit to Bloom. If they're challenging that pressure, then that's what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
And Bloom is certainly a team capable of doing that. They don't have the arms that they used to have necessarily. I'm not as familiar with this complete roster, but losing Cynthia Lee, obviously she's one of the more talented arms in Canada.
Yep.
And I believe, I forget the other player, Cynthia and, I'd have to look at the hyper roster, but I do know. They're both very talented players.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's also a credit to Bloom for where they're at now to be so competitive, having lost 2 talented players. Like,
but they still have really good leadership from people like Stella Valance.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
that's what I love to see is like the fact that the teamwork is ultimately what matters most. It's a great sign of a experienced and I guess complete team.
Yeah. And they're purple. I feel like, or weren't they blue? I feel like
they've had like a bluish or teal pink combination. I might be imagining that. I've definitely seen the purple jerseys before.
Yeah. Harding. Oh no! Oh, just unable to put some hands on that.
And I don't think that quite clipped McVarish. It was hard to tell from this angle.
Yeah.
She didn't react to it, so I assume it didn't.
She was kind of reaching over Taylor, but couldn't walk past her.
Wow.
McVarish with just a rope.
That is against a very good catcher too. That was an impressive throw.
Yeah, it's really because it has quite a bit of downward movement.
Well, yeah, it seems like she really wraps her hand around the ball through the throw, so it almost elongates the time it takes for it to come out of her hand, which she kind of uses. So like she's pressuring with her lead step and her form. That caused I believe Sue on that right corner to slide and turn right, which was preemptive. So she ended up not allowing her the opportunity to catch the ball, committing to a dodge, but allowing McVarish to place her shot. That's not easy to do. And she's doing it consistently.
Yeah, and staying alive.
Exactly. Like you said, how long has she been in the game? Like, I think she's been out once in the 3 sets we played.
Yeah, at the very end of that last set.
And she's here in the 3v2, and this is like where it can be challenging to survive because you're down. You don't have the advantage of being able to like leverage and trade, right?
Yeah. I find Taylor's throw is really hard to read, too. A lot of people are struggling to read it off her hand. And it almost is like, it doesn't give like that the full line. It's almost like
not full extension, kind of.
Yeah. Watch it here.
Oh, yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. Yeah. She just kind of
takes out balance. It's very hard to read.
And then uses her wrist to just send the ball.
Yeah.
There's definitely a skill in that, too.
Yeah, and very hard to read on the other end.
My background is less so with foam, more so with rubber, so I'm much more used to throwing with my shoulder, so I know I'm very conscious of what it's like to throw a foam ball and have to use your wrist. So I really admire when players can do that, because it's not as easy as you think, right?
Yeah, and Taylor doing an excellent job in that game, taking out the last 3 all by herself. So it's working. It's working.
It's a 2-1 lead now for Armada over Bloom. It'd be a good time for an adjustment. We were kind of talking about that rush. Bloom was quicker off of that last one, but they didn't have any successful hits, as I recall.
Bloom looks like they have kind of a short roster, too. Is there only maybe 8 of them? Maybe?
Oh, yeah. They got one as a line retriever over there in a red penny, and then they've got one more on the opposite sideline. Oh, no, then they got more.
Oh, I lied. Oh, Jenkins makes a big catch on Groves.
It's funny to hear that, because back in the day, having 8 players would have been like,
too many. Yeah.
Why would we do that? Now it's like if you don't have 9, we're like, you're crazy.
Yeah, our arms don't. It's a 3-day tournament. You have to have some reprieve.
And I believe the max roster is 12, right? That might include coaches, though. I'm not certain.
No, it is 12. I'm pretty sure like Rainbow Thunder has at least 11.
Wow.
On theirs, yeah.
Yeah, I got to watch Rainbow Thunder a little bit at the thing. They really stood out. They had some interesting methods to how they play as a team. A lot of innovation.
Yeah, definitely. Their captain's kind of coach, Amanda First, definitely has a lot of brain, what do you call it? Brain hive? Like, what's that? That mind hive?
Ingenuity?
Hive mind? I don't know. Yeah. Bloom coming back to the line to throw. They got 4. Dixon able to block. And Jordan taken out by Rempel on the counter. And it's still on Bloom. They've had 4 balls a lot. Haven't really been able to get a ton of hits. Armada has really been able to stay alive.
Well, yeah, I was just about to point that out. We were talking about their corner work and their defense and the synchronicity of it. They're turning that into offense. So, I mean, that's really the ideal defense is your offense, right? Yeah. A lot of teams do that by rushing off the back line. It's a pretty common tactic in Seattle. We see it a lot in BC as well and throughout Canada.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of different styles of dodgeball today.
Oh, Dixon makes a catch on Sue.
And that's the kind of thing that you can kind of create with that, right? With that like constant pressure and antagonism, it can create opportunities where catching becomes a little bit easier. Yeah. You kind of get a feel for it as a team rather than having that come and go kind of sporadically. You can never rely on it. The way they're playing right now, they can, and they're leveraging that to their advantage. This is really impressive team dodgeball. And that's not to discredit the individuals on the team. I mean, we're talking about the talent on the corners right now, but the way the middles are posturing, it's a team effort. It's really impressive.
Oh, we must be into mill blocking. We got Groves got caught on, and
oh yeah. Just under 13 minutes now.
Yeah. I believe that was Ramsey who got hit out, but she made a catch, so Groves comes on. This
could pose an interesting challenge to Armada. I'm not certain either way, but the way they play, no block can affect that. If you can't use your blocking ball, it may change how you choose to pressure your opponent. Oh, wow.
Nice shot by Dixon. Takes out Groves and then takes out her other buddy.
I don't think it was the wrong move there from Bloom. I think they were just a little late to the punch. They both tried to throw, which in no block I think is kind of your best defense. Better to throw your ball first than to try to react to what your opponent is doing unless you really want to commit to that catch.
Yep.
But they were a little late to the punch, so it was a 4-on-2. Everyone got to throw their ball. That's going to leave you in a tough spot most of the time just by odds.
Yeah.
But now we're going to see what the transition's like. They got a little time to talk, see what they can fix. They're not out of reach of this match by any means. It's only 3-1.
And that's kind of the nice thing about these shorter matches. Everybody's generally in reach.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I wonder, Armada seems to be a team that does a really good job of playing off of the back line. So if they were down players, I would think that would still play into their favor because they won't have to give up majority. They can keep 3 balls in defense when they're down, and then they can climb back in from there. That could be a real strength. It could be kind of a pain for Bloom to maintain what they need to win the match throughout all of that.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting on Bloom to kind of commit to being aggressive on that rush. The last 2 feeds I saw looked like they were beating Armada on the setup. They just weren't actually taking the throw.
I would love to see Bloom maybe throw some more angles.
That too. You brought up that point earlier, and you're right. If you can successfully throw those crosses, it can elevate your efficiency as long as you can place your throws. And I would believe Bloom is capable of doing that.
We'll see if that's what the plan is. Nice throw by Jorger. Rempel's not quite sure. Oh, it's a bounce. Seemed like it. Armada to the line. Kennedy throws. Jorger counters, but just a little short.
I like the idea, though, they're trying to play out of the transition space more so than at the front line. That last sequence, it looked like Bloom was pressuring as a team, but not getting a lot of a reaction out of Armada. I think that's another credit to Armada in the way they're playing. Those middle players are so stoic that it makes it very difficult for Bloom to kind of create the opportunity for someone to throw and hit. So that transition space might be a more valuable opportunity.
Yeah. McVarish there was throwing a counter. Didn't quite hit. Was able to stay alive. Whew. There was a lot of going on there. Valance and Rempel taken out.
She almost folded over that ball, not necessarily with intent, but just in the way she postured after she threw. That part was intentional, so almost an intentional catch there.
Oh, Dixon getting hit out. I think this is nice for Bloom. They're kind of taking opportunities when they see them.
Yeah, it's a very different adjustment too. All right, so we've got to start considering our VC MVPs of the match now.
Yeah, this is a tricky one.
3 minutes to put in our nominations.
Yeah, I would say McVarish, wouldn't you?
I think it's pretty hard not to. Yeah. I mean, they've still got some time here, but it's going to be interesting, though. We say McVarish, but then you look at the rest of the team and think, and then everyone else?
But what about this one? And what about this
one?
Taylor making those, multiple hits at the end of the last game.
And that folding catch, I remember one of the middles. Yeah, Harding.
Yeah.
Rempel's been doing a lot of countering on the opposite corner. I keep hearing you call out her taking those opportunities.
Getting hit out there. Bloom got almost close to full power.
Yeah, Bloom is really playing well now in response off of this back line, really forcing Armada to approach them and then deal with what they're capable of. Now they're kind of in a position where they're only going to have 3 balls at a time, though. They can't throw 2 necessarily. They could take the risk, and they do. Yeah. Interesting. I like to see that.
Again, they're stacked up again as well.
Yeah, true. I think you're very right. If you can throw those balls from either corner, the risk that may play is that then the middle can be pinned if you don't get a successful hit. Yeah. But I think you can be prepared for that. It just comes down to the coordination within the team. Same thing like you said. Or maybe not even, it's so synchronous, even a lead and a follow. Get the player to commit to the block with the first throw or reach or something, get them to react, and then follow with the second throw from the middle.
Nice
or from
dodges
the corner,
and blocks by Chung.
Well, let's see here. Let's get McVarish down on the list.
Yep. I'd put Jorger from Bloom. She's made some nice hits.
Let me see. I'm not familiar with Jordan. Oh, this left corner. Yeah, she has. And especially since we've seen this kind of transition out of the half, she seems to be one of those key components to finding that transition hit.
Yeah. Oh, Chung getting hit on that block initially, but then just kind of hanging in for the last hit too.
Doing a job, though, kind of to funnel those throws towards her. She got hit by both, which is almost better than getting hit by just one, because that means you got 2 balls out of it instead of 1. The team still has the 2-player advantage, so that's actually kind of a sacrificial play to the benefit of your team. Maybe not intentional, but still for the benefit of your team.
Yeah. But now, we're working on it. We're working on it, Mitch. We got this. I know.
That Mitch bug is tickling me somewhere. It's on my back.
Yeah, so I would say Jorger, McVarish. I would say Taylor. I would say Taylor for Armada.
Armada?
Mm-hmm. Dixon also had a couple of nice catches and hits too, but I think I'm going to give it to Taylor.
Let's see.
And then we need one more Bloom, right?
Yeah, I'm scratching my head. I'm kind of looking for the leadership on Bloom because I know they have it.
Yeah, I would say Stella Valance would probably be the leadership there. You can see her talking in the corner there. Just let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, even on the sideline, I agree. That's a valuable pick.
And McVarish getting hit out. Everybody to the line there being really active. I think that was to Bloom's favor. And Kennedy left on Armada. Nice throw. I like how she puts her whole body into that throw. That's very Malaysian-like.
Again, Bloom's really showing the discipline right now. They're not really overextending, although that was the solo throw.
You know what? I like it, though. Quick to the line.
I've never been against the solo throw. I think it's kind of a recreational tool to tell people not to throw solo. I think ultimately your goal is to be able to throw solo and not get caught.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to take those throws.
Yeah. They have to be the right opportunities, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And place it within a safe space, right? Like you can throw a ball without centering it on somebody. Like just because you're trying to hit them doesn't mean you have to do that.
No pocket shots.
Yep. It just becomes a discipline and muscle memory. And you know, we all throw catches sometimes. That's just the way the game goes.
It happens. Oh, nice shot. Jorger able to close it out.
Nice, slow, steady win there from Bloom. They got ahead, controlled the whole point, made it pretty much impossible for Armada to climb back into that. They worked through their arms early. They didn't really leave that on the table like they were doing earlier. It'll be interesting to see if they can do the same and replicate that.
One thing I don't see either real team doing either is like chaos. None of them really, neither team is really into chaos. They like it very controlled and methodical.
You should have been here for the Saiyan Elite Howl match.
Oh man, that must have been all chaos.
That was nothing but chaos. Well, I mean, not nothing but chaos, but man.
Controlled
I
chaos?
don't know if I've ever seen more chaos. Let's put it that way. I've been watching a lot of dodgeball over my time, so.
All right, so get your vote in for the player of the match. Jenkins hit out by Armada. Yeah, it seems like Bloom is really feeling this now. Like they've kind of fallen into a bit of a groove.
Well, yeah, I just noticed they're kind of switching their players off the corners, maybe for an offensive-defensive strategy, like they're just doing now. We're going back out to the left for offense. You sliding over to the left for defense. It's
nice to have players that can kind of play wherever. A lot of people kind of favor certain spots, but it's nice to keep moving around and making people continue to guess.
Well, yeah, like everyone kind of has their strength, right? Like what corner do you prefer or whatever you want to call it.
Always a preference.
There's lefties and there's righties and there's positions that kind of favor those things. But ultimately, like I think the better dodgeball team will be able to slot their players into any given position, even if that's just by demand. If you're down to 2 players, one of you got to play right, one of you's got to play left. If you don't have your lefties in, someone's not going to be on the corner they want to be on.
I mean, maybe they could stack up. That would be an interesting situation, right?
I have seen it recently, actually, at the thing.
Successful?
Some of the women's teams were doing it, and it was very strategic. They were doing it to kind of funnel the throw, and then as they would spread out, it would kind of prove the tell. It would say, oh, they are looking at me. It would say, oh, they're not looking at me, therefore you need to be ready for it. Just that movement, by not being completely spread out and static, really does actually kind of, I guess, expose what your opponent's looking to do. And granted, I think a good opponent can use that against you, look one way, throw the other. But that's challenging when players are adapting to that sort of strategy in the match.
Mew taking out Dixon on the Armada side. Again, they're just kind of working their way through here. Yeah, but Armada's hanging on this time. They're close enough to where it's not as uphill of a battle. Oh, but there's that cross you've been talking about. See? Finally, that right side cross from Sue. Gosh, make me a coach. I know something. Made it look easy that time. Why haven't they been doing this the whole time? But trying to get Halen Sky out is going to be a tall task. You can't do the same thing twice and expect it to work the same way. No. So what do you do from here? Sky throwing kind of a Hale pre-throw. Hale, because her name's Halen. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think ball was still alive there. I think that she would be hit. Oh, that's interesting. Debating. Interesting. They believe the ball was dead before the throw was live. I thought that was a pretty good move by the Mew. A little aggressive, perhaps. Yeah, that was a nice throw. There was a lot of movement, downward movement on that one from Sky. Yeah, I love to see it. That's all the tools in people's toolbox is always interesting to me. Yeah. Because people don't do this, the tricky throws all the time. It's that one weird one you throw 1 out of 10 times. Wow. Oh yeah, you saw that one too. Yep. And she's doing that with an overhand. I know a lot of women, several in Portland actually, that have some very tricky throws. They kind of throw from a slide slot to get that effect, where it just sort of like floats out for a low throw angle and then drops real quick at the end. That's cool. It's kind of a similar effect that she's doing from an overhand throw. Yeah. I think they're going to talk about whether Wu got hit on the bounce. I thought it was a bounce, but I don't have the best angle, so I can't. I think they're going to leave her in there. Did look like they were confident it was a hit. Yeah. Just the way that the ball popped up afterwards, it looked like it probably. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like ground to foot, and then it looks like it popped up. Yeah. I had one of those earlier today while I was reffing. It's always one of those plays where players look at you and like, what just happened? It's like, I don't really know, but like, you got to make a call one way or the other. You do. There's so many. Oh, what a nice dodge by Sky. Wu trying to grab the ball just out of reach. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Good leave.
That was nearly a costly pass. Oh, again.
Oh, wow.
Did she
Did she
catch that?
hold that? Oh, wow. Good job, Wu. That was a like slide down your body and just hold on for dear life kind of a catch. But
She like got her arms over it and then
Yeah.
like, came back down on top of it. That was
pounced.
impressive.
That was a pounce catch.
Mine. All right, we got a timeout here.
Are we still voting, Mitch? Is voting over? Nope, still voting. So make sure you get your votes in for player of the game, the VC's player of the game.
Yeah, still going. It must be coming down close to the end of the match. They got this timeout in because it's tied 3-3 now, so this next point may be critical. There's an opportunity to get this win before time expires and then go into the no block, allowing your opponent the potential to tie it up. But if you can take it into the no block let time expire and then win that last point, you guaranteed your win.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a dependent strategy on this.
What would you do?
Honestly, because this is round robin, I would look at it as a learning opportunity. I think it's better to play for the point and then go into the no block for the experience of trying to beat a full team in no block.
Yeah.
And dealing with that pressure, right? If it's kind of like a risk, but a low risk, right? Like worst case, you're going to tie, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get that first win, secure that, use that end time to go into no block, you can actually play through that. And even if you lose, bummer, we tied. But if you win, you've learned something from it. You've gained that opportunity to better a team in the no block.
Taking out McVerge and Rempel early in this game.
Yeah, Blue really has kind of proven their adjustment worked.
Yeah. And nice to have that momentum going into kind of these last few games.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about no block in the first half, is because I think it's actually suitable to the way Armada plays. I think no block can actually lead into being one of their strengths, but the same can be true for Bloom.
Yeah.
Right now it's proven through that Bloom kind of pulled the trigger earlier and got their lead, but holding on to a lead in no block is one of the trickier parts of the WDBF rule set, I think.
Yeah, you have to be able to move pretty darn good.
Yeah, because, I mean, it changes the dynamic on defense. If you can't defend yourself, whether you're up or not doesn't matter nearly as much. It
Chung takes out Harding.
Comes down to how effectively you can throw, really. It's almost a purely offensive game.
Bloom to the line. Again, going back to their stacks.
Oh, looks like that's time.
I think they're calling it out on Dixon and time.
Yep.
So we will go into no block. It didn't quite make the full game through.
5-on-2 no block. Armada's been pretty intentional with using their counters throughout this match. I wouldn't be surprised to see them push back and throw before Bloom lets a ball go. Yep.
Wow, you can see the future.
And she executed well there, got the hit the right time. That's kind of why I think no block leads into defensive abilities like that. As soon as you can tell that your opponent's committed to a throw, you can let that ball go. And with little risk, right? As long as you get your throw off first, no block just means they can't block. They can't defend themselves with their ball. So unless you've got someone that's very crafty and knows how to bait, you should be able to do that. But to Bloom's credit, they may be the type of team that can do that. I've definitely seen Sue make some catches that way before.
And down to the last, Jenkins on Armada. Kennedy, unfortunately, just putting her hands up a little bit. Jenkins throwing the underhand.
I love it. I've been trying to learn that throw, and every time I see someone that knows what they're doing, I'm like, I have not learned that throw.
Whoa, and she makes the catch.
Okay, was secured.
And a hit, yeah.
I was going to say.
No, it wasn't secured, yeah, I guess.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with that, but the ref's got to make a call here. Oh, did she come in with a ball? Oh, I think that's what happened. It doesn't look like they were negating the catch. I think they were just saying she came in with the ball in hand, and that means that you forfeit the right to return a player.
Yeah. And so Bloom takes this match.
Yeah.
What a horrible way to end a game, but like a match. But
a true bummer for Armada. They played exceptionally well. I thought they really carried the forefront of that match and made it hard on Bloom. But Bloom made a very strategic shift there at the halftime and executed extremely well from that point on all the way through the no block. It would have been interesting to see if that catch had been made successfully, because I think that could have been the climb for a momentum swing there, but that's the nature of the game.
Yep.
Well, who do we have coming up next?
That's an excellent question.
I think
Riptide and Triton. So we've got two Wait, Tritons is from Quebec, I think.
I believe so, and Riptide as well, because Riptide is kind of.
Riptide's from PEI. I know that much.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I was relating them to Tempest and
I was almost
going to
I was almost going to say that Tritons were from New Brunswick, but that is the Axemen. Oh no, you got that on the live stream, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say. Not the place to warm up.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Well, it's been a slice.
Yeah, it was
Michael.
a pleasure.
So
I
nice
really
to meet
enjoyed
you.
that. I think
Yeah.
it'll be fun to do some more commentary later throughout the tournament if we get a chance.
I hope so.
Alrighty, well, I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.